Hello, welcome. Marlene here. The gang over at Dessert Network has put together this wonderful Valentine's Day collaboration. These projects will surely inspire you as to what to make for your sweetheart. Simply touch the screen or you'll find the links in the description box. And for my contribution, we have Cupid Yoda. Now on to the step-by-step tutorial. Here's a little preview of what we're working on today. We're going to start by transferring this onto the surface of the cookie. I'm working in edible marker. And I've cut my little guy out here and I'm putting him on the cookie and I'm just quickly tracing the outer perimeter. Try not to work in black. Sometimes you can have some issues with bleeding with the black marker. So save that if you need it for, let's say, to finish something off, but don't use it necessarily if you don't have to do your guidelines. My cookie's going to be pink, so it'll be forgiving with this pink marker here. And you can work pretty quickly. There we go. I'm just going to finish off the bow here. A little circle. I'm using this round cookie cutter to do my text bubble. I'm just quickly tracing that like so, and then I can bring down the little speech thing. And now we can proceed to the icing. This is the first step of the icing. We're working in white. I've added some white food gel just so that my white is very bright and not kind of a little bit translucent. And I'm just following the curve of the heart here and then finishing off that text bubble. There we go, and let's fill this in. And now the whole thing. And you can just pick up your cookie, give it a shake, and now we can move on to the Yoda section. Stay inside those pink lines. You don't want to go outside. If you recall, the line was on the outside of our guide, and so we want to stay inside the pink lines so that he's not weirdly shaped. If you need to, you can push your lines with your needle tool to get them right on the edge of the pink there. And then make sure that your lines are connecting on the inside so that everything gets nice and smooth. Give them a shake to smooth them out. Gravity will do some work for you. And now we're going to let him crust. Now I'm working on the brown, the bow. I'm just filling in that little section, a circle, and then connecting the two. And there we have it. Now we're going to let this crust before we come in and do the whole surface of the cookie, which is going to be in pink. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to now flood the rest of the cookie in the pink. And we're starting off with this little area right here. And I'm just slowly filling in this little area. Don't overfill so that it doesn't spill onto your other sections. I'm starting here, connecting to my white. And now we're going to give this cookie a shake just to smooth out this pink icing. Here's my template, just wanted to show you. So what I've done now, I've trimmed off these legs, the body. All I want is this leg, which is on top, this arm, which is on top, and then the head, this ear, not this ear. I've cut that off. Now we're going to transfer this little mini template on top of that green section. As you can see here, I used a green marker simply because then if my line is visible, it will not matter, or will matter less anyway than if I had, let's say, a pink, black line, whatever color. And now I'm using my edible marker and I'm just going to place my template there on the back area. So I'm trying to create a little bit of dimension. I'm just going to work like this. So I can just kind of hold that in place like so. And now I'm just very, very lightly drawing my guidelines. There we go. Now the thing that's going to happen with the guidelines, let's say they're a little bit visible. Well, it looks like a shadow when it's darker green like that. So it's just a little bit easier to kind of get away with. Here is the second layer of green icing. And I've got some 4mm pearls for his eyes. We're going to start with his little arm. I'm going here, the shoulder area, going around. And then fill all that up. We're going to smooth now. You can shake. And now his leg, creating his little bum, the knee, his little foot there. Connect, and let's build this up. Put some meat on Yoda. He looks a little scrawny usually. I want him plump in this case. Okay, let's shake that out. Now, onto Yoda's head or face. I'm doing this ear, the point here of his ear, and then all the way around. There we go. And now we're filling this in. There we go. And now let's heal all this up. Okay. Now I'm dropping in the 4mm pearl about here, and then the other one also there. And now we're done with the second layer of green icing. We're going to let this crust a little bit. Here I'm working on that arrow that he's shooting. I've got the same brown icing from the bow and a small 1.5 tip so that I can get a very fine line. And I'm starting here and all along his arm and just past the bow. And there we have the arrow that he's shooting. Here, if you look at the next step, I'm working on his fingers here. So his thumb is coming in front of the bow and then 2 fingers on either side of the arrow to hold it. I'll wait for that to crest before doing a 3rd finger just below. So we'll have a total of 3 fingers and a thumb there for the final detail. Okay, I'm adding now a little finger here on this side and here on this side, holding the arrow in place, and then from this part here I'm doing a little jelly bean. That's his thumb. And now we just have to add 1 more finger after this has time to crust so they don't meld together and give him like a giant weird looking finger. Now I'm working on the arrow. I'm just doing a dot and pulling and a dot and pulling, and that is a heart for the tip of the arrow. Now I'm aware it's the same color as the base, but we're going to paint it just a bit faster than mixing a whole batch of icing just to do that, and it'll look just as good. Working on that final finger, I'm just doing another little dot, little tiny thing next to that one. And there we have the hand is completed. Again here, a little dot. Okay, so I'm happy with how this is going, but you know, Yoda shouldn't be naked. So this is what I'm thinking here, a little cloth kind of covering his private area. And now let's do that. I've got some kind of tan icing. I thought it looked like his usual ensemble color. And what I'm doing here is I'm just from here filling that in and then going down here. And let's fill that up. Create kind of like a diaper. It's kind of a funny thing to see Yoda in a diaper. Okay, so there. And now I'm just doing one line here, kind of it's flowing out. And then again, creating a wider section here, coming to smaller. And let's heal that all up. Mind you, it's fabric, so it's got a bit of ripples, it's fine. And then a smaller piece here. And there we have Yoda dressed, sort of ish. At least he's not completely naked. I think that's kind of cute. In my opinion, one of the ways to ruin a cookie once you get to this point is start adding black lines on the face. If you aren't a super mega amazing, piping artist, you could really mess up your cookies and go from, at this point, really cute to a weird kind of expression. And the best way to avoid that is simply by choosing a color that is more forgiving. Here I put my green back in a bowl and I just added a bit of darker shade of green to it. And now I'm getting my features. They're less pronounced. I'm still getting the face effect. Those lines simply being a different shade of green as opposed to black are so much more forgiving. And so let's do that now. I'm going to add those few little features to Yoda's face. And now I have a 1.5 tip. I'm adding this little detail here to the ear. Just a squiggly line kind of at the top. And then here I'm starting right here, following the curve of the head, kind of doing a Yoda comb over here. Another. There. And now there's 4 lines in this direction. 2, 3, 4. I find the eyebrows really add to his little face, so little eyebrows, and then a smile in the middle of that. And you see that green icing is so much more forgiving, and it's just so cute. Makes him look kind of kawaii-ish. Now we're just finishing off the tip of the arrow. I'm using a red edible marker, and it's going to be forgiving since it's the same color as the base there. And I'm just gently touching the top. There we go. And there we have our little red arrow. Let's finish this cookie off. I'm working at the angle that suits me here. Sorry if it's not great for you. And I'm going to start with the bottom of the saying here, the one for me, not the, just one for me. Starting that with that. And if you're not comfortable, use a marker instead. Now I'm going to do Yoda up here. There we go. Feel my cookie is missing a little something. I want to add a border, but I do not want to color icing, and so we're going to do it with sprinkles. Here's some white icing. I'm just doing a thin line around the outer perimeter of our design here. And I'll be sprinkling that immediately. Nonpareil doesn't stick to icing that's crusted in the least, like just flies right off. And so get it on while it's wet. There we go. And now we're just going to shake off our excess into this tray. There we go. And there is the cookie. Isn't it cute with that little border? Now my bead tray, you can see I can just place that in the funnel into the bottle, tilt it, and then I get all my stuff back in there in 2 seconds. It's really very convenient. I hope you enjoyed my cookie project. Now be sure to check out the other tutorials from our Valentine's Day collaboration. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos.